I object! Binghamton roared. You can't call an alligator stupid. It's a frame-up. I'm not calling him stupid, Parker countered. He may have had an unhappy childhood. The trial reached its climax when McHale and the crew literally dragged Sidney into the courtroom. The alligator, lured by a peanut butter sandwich, opened his mouth and deposited the missing wallet and the $900 directly onto the judge's desk. Exhibit A, McHale shouted. The judge looked at the marked bills, then at Binghamton. Captain, did you say you set a trap with his money? That sounds like entrapment to me. Once again, McHale walked free, and Sidney became the only alligator in the South Pacific with a permanent bunk and a steady supply of Jif. Chapter 6. The Ghost of PT-13. Superstition is a powerful force in the Navy. When Binghamton tried to reassign the crew to a boat he claimed was jinxed, the PT-13 he didn't. Realized that McHale was a master of the supernatural. It's a Jonah ship, the crew whispered, coached by McHale. 2 crews drowned. Exploded gas tanks. Binghamton laughed. There's no such thing as ghosts, McHale. Move your things. That night, the 73, now labeled the Teen, became a haunted house. Using fishing line, hidden speakers, and a generous amount of phosphorus paint, the crew staged a haunting that would have made Hollywood jealous. Binghamton, visiting the boat at midnight, found himself chased by the ghosts of PT-13, which were actually just a crew in white sheets, hovering on wires. We've come back from the grave, Wally. McHale's voice boomed through a megaphone. We need your signatures on the transfer papers. Binghamton, screaming and firing his gun at shadows, fled into the night. The next morning, he was more than happy to give the 73 its original number back, provided the ghosts promised to leave him alone. Chapter 7. The New Caledonia Payroll Heist. The final act of this comedy of errors took place in the posh streets of New Caledonia. The 73 was sent to pick up the base payroll, $62,000 in small, unmarked bills. Ensign Parker, entrusted with the bag, managed to get himself knocked unconscious within minutes of leaving the paymaster's office. When he woke up, the money was gone. What did you see, Chuck? McHale asked desperately. Think. A girl's ankle, Parker moaned. She had a birthmark, a little brown heart on her right ankle. What followed was a frantic search through the cafes and casinos of New Caledonia. The crew of PT-73 began a systematic inspection of every female ankle in the city. Gruber, Virgil, and Tinker were nearly arrested multiple times for tablecloth-related misconduct. Pardon me, ma'am, McHale would say, lifting a skirt hem with the practiced ease of a man who had nothing left to lose. The Navy is looking for stolen property, legally. They finally spotted the girl with the heart birthmark, consorting with a group of local black market thugs. A high-speed chase through the city ensued, involving a stolen Jeep, a French bakery, and a very confused gendarme. The money was finally recovered when the thugs tried to hide the payroll bag inside an old, decorative cannon in the town square. We're out of ammo, Parker yelled as the thugs closed in, but we've got the cannon. It doesn't work, Chuck, McHale yelled. Yes, it does. All you do is light the fuse. Parker lit the fuse. The cannon didn't fire a ball. It fired $62,000. A literal cloud of money exploded over New Caledonia, raining 20s and 50s down on the stunned population. Binghamton, who had followed them to New Caledonia to catch them in the act of stealing the money, was hit in the face by a flying stack of hundreds. Is this the payroll, Captain? McHale asked, casually picking a 20 off Binghamton's shoulder. We were just testing its aerodynamic properties. Binghamton, buried in cash and defeated by the sheer absurdity of the universe, could only sit in the street and count. 1, 2, 3. Epilogue, the Peace of the Pirates. Back on Terra Tupa, the 73 sat quietly in the lagoon. The sinks were still backed up at the Petty Officers Club, and the garter belt crisis remained unresolved. McHale sat on the deck, watching the sunset. He had survived another month of the war, mostly by ignoring it. Parker was busy writing a letter to his mother about his heroic recovery of the national treasury, and Sidney the alligator was sleeping off a peanut butter overdose. Across the water, Captain Binghamton looked out his window. His eyebrows finally started to grow back. He knew that as long as McHale was on the island, he would never be an admiral. But as he watched the crew of the 73 start a bonfire for their evening luau, he realized something. At least life wasn't boring. Wow, 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 he whispered to himself, then went to find his indigestion pills. The Pirates of Taratupa, a novel of naval absurdity. Chapter 1, The Indigestion of Command. The South Pacific Sun was not merely a celestial body in the summer of 1943. It was a personal affront to Captain Wallace B. Binghamton, known to his men, though never to his face, as Old Lead Bottom. The captain sat in his office on the island of Taratupa, nursing a stomach that felt as though it were being used to test experimental acid batteries. Wow, 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 Binghamton muttered, staring at a requisition form. Garter belts. Carpenter. Why am I looking at a request for garter belts? Lieutenant Elroy Carpenter, a man whose primary military skill was nodding vigorously in agreement with whatever the captain said, snapped to attention. The nurses, sir, they're quite adamant. It's a matter of morale, or leg support. If the nurses need garter belts, you snap to it. Binghamton barked, his voice cracking. Everything is on my shoulders. The war. The Petty Officers Club sinks backing up. Tokyo Rose probably laughing at my tactical maps. And now garter belts. The telephone rang with a shrill, accusing tone. Binghamton glared at it as if it were a Japanese spy. He snatched it up. This is Captain Binghamton. Who did you expect? Tokyo Rose. He listened for a moment, his face turning a shade of purple usually reserved for tropical fruit. The sinks are backing up. I'm the commanding officer, not a plumber. Shove off. He slammed the receiver down and popped a handful of white pills. Sir, Carpenter whispered, take it easy on those. They give you the most terrible indigestion. I don't care. I just don't care. Binghamton wailed. Then a slow, predatory light began to flicker in his eyes. A message had arrived that morning. Admiral Iron Pants Rafferty was coming for a sneak inspection. Rafferty was a man who considered a loose button to be a court-martial offense and a messy base to be a hanging matter. Carpenter, Binghamton whispered, a manic grin spreading across his face. If I were sick, truly, terribly sick, I would have to appoint an acting base commander, and that commander would have to face the admiral. Brilliant, sir, Carpenter chirped, but who would be foolish enough? McHale, Binghamton hissed. Quentin McHale and his band of cutthroats, with them in charge. The base will turn into a Roman orgy within 20 minutes. Rafferty will see the chaos, blame McHale, and destroy them all right in front of me. I'll be in the hospital, innocent and tragically ill. He suddenly collapsed toward the floor. I'm sick. Call the medic. Hurry. I think I'm going to faint. Sir, you didn't say to catch you. Carpenter cried as the captain hit the floor with a dull thud. You stupid numbskull, the captain yelled from the floor. Just get McHale. Chapter 2, The Reign of the Acting Commander. Commander Quentin McHale, a man whose uniform usually looked like he had slept in it, mostly because he had arrived at the infirmary looking suspicious. He was followed by his executive officer, Ensign Charles Parker. Parker was a man of high nerves and low coordination, a walking disaster zone in a starched shirt. Oh, McHale! Binghamton groaned for his bed, clutching his stomach. It's bad. The doctors. They don't know. I'm appointing you acting base commander. Me? Captain, you're kidding, McHale said. stifling a grin.